Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Today, I am going to be reacting to 3 viral clips by Candace Owens, who sat down with Jason Lee to discuss a myriad of topics. But the topic that is getting the most visibility is her argumentation against his illogical position on trans men being actual men. I will say this, it saddens me to see whole grown adult males confused about the truth on this topic, all because they are in bed with the ideological left. And so, even if they look silly, even if they're shamed and made to look completely ridiculous, illogical, and inconsistent, they will double down in their foolishness and affirm this mess because it comes with the caboose. It comes with the train of all of the other things that the left must affirm. To be a leftist, to be a Democrat, you have to stand on these issues. And if you take one, you have to take them all. Those are the rules of the left. You are not agree. You're not allowed to disagree and say, you know what? I mean, I do want universal health care, but this trans stuff is crazy. This is where y'all lose me. You can't be a consistent Democrat. You can't be a leftist and actually have or hold those things in equal tension. And so, therefore, we're going to see in real time the illogical argumentation of the left and how Candace Owens kills it just by destroying their worldview with some basic, fundamental, self evident truths. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Your color and dyed a little lighter than me. So that's different.
Michael Jackson
that's
died a black man.
No, of course, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. The difference, though, in terms of Rachel Dolezal, she's a white woman that decided that she was going to be black one day.
Comments are going to kill you.
But wait, no, they're not.
Yes,
no,
they are, because I'm making a lot of sense.
Let me say this. I think people are going to watch this and go, I understand where she's coming from, and they're going to watch this and go, I understand where she's coming from, because they will. It's not an exchange of who's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Because
no, but there's just ideological consistency. So that's my thing. If you can't make it make ideological sense, it's because it doesn't make any sense, right?
The only thing you reference with a trans person not being validated is whether they have a penis or not, and their sexual orientation is not based on their body part.
Okay, so why isn't Rachel Dolezal black?
Because she's a white woman.
Okay, because it's a male or it's a female. That's it. And no matter how many procedures Rachel Dolezal gets, or how much makeup she pounds on her face, or how much she kinks her hair, no matter what, okay, even if she presents and she fully looks like she's a black woman.
Even if she gets the Kim Kardashian
even
BBL.
Even if she gets the Kim Kardashian BBL, everything that she wants to get, she's still going to be and die a white woman. And that's the same for the transgender people. You can get all the cosmetic procedures that you want. You can talk about.
Right. So I think it's insightful. And this is not a novel observation. This is just common sense playing out. The fact that this man is arguing against the biological reality that no matter how you put lipstick on the pig, put a weave and some a lace front on this pig, at the end of the day, it's not a woman or a horse. It is still a pig. Why are we struggling with these realities? And I think this shouldn't be considered bravery to say no matter what Rachel Dolezal does, she is still a white woman, and no matter what these trans individuals do to themselves scientifically or medically, they're still women. This man could not make the proper leap in logic to say if A is true, then B is also true, because ideologically he's been indoctrinated to believe that somehow these two things are not even the same. They are different. He is arguing down with such veracity that no matter what Rachel Dolezal does, she's still a white woman who believes that she was black. Sir, what is the difference between a man who believes he's a woman? Our belief, our deeply held presuppositions and convictions and beliefs do not dictate reality, particularly biological reality. That is the first clip that I wanted us to take a look at. Then the next clip that I want us to take a look at is this one.
Also, by the way, incredibly insulting, the idea that you get to be a woman just because you got some boobs and the lips. There's something very denigrating about that to women. It's basically saying anyone can be you, it's just a costume. Like, being a woman is not a costume. It's not a costume. It's just not.
First of all, some of you don't even do it well. I mean, I know a lot of women that don't have lips, that don't have ass, that can have kids, that, you know, and those some that do have uteruses that probably shouldn't. But that's not because of my opinion as a man. It's my opinion
Because
they're
that's
bad
not what
mothers. You'll conflate pedophilia by using children and gay, which are two different things.
I'm not conflating here. Your argument is that if someone who is not clearly being born with a penis, for example, decides that in their lived experience, actually, no, they should have had a vagina, and so they're going to start living like they have a vagina and getting cosmetic procedures like they have a vagina, that suddenly I should respect that. I'm saying, okay, keep it consistent and say the exact same thing about Rachel Dolezal, and you hesitate there. For some reason, you don't want to do that. And so...
Well, no, I said she was crazy.
Exactly. So
Rachel Dolezal is crazy. He can acknowledge that there's a deficiency, something going on mentally in this woman's psyche that led her to believe, despite observable reality, that she was a Black woman. He can't make that same leap in logic and make the same apples to apples comparison by a man who is clearly, by any stretch of the imagination and just on sight, is a man. He can't see how it is ideologically inconsistent for him to not acknowledge that there is something mentally deficient going on with this man because he believes he's a woman. And then he brings up a conflation that no one brought up. He's like, for example, your side is always equating ped- uh, pedophilia with the trans community or homosexuality. And it's like, no, no, no. We're not. Why are you moving the goalposts, sir? No one is saying that. Now, if you want to have a discussion, if you want to actually have a substantive discussion on that topic, we can do that. But let's just party in the box here. Let us just focus right here in the pocket in dealing with this reality that this trans community is something mentally going on there, that all of a sudden all of these people who didn't suffer from this pathology or thwarted or twisted or deficient worldview before, now all of a sudden believe they feel like a woman, so therefore it's incredibly insulting. I don't understand where the feminists are. I don't understand where the Black women are who are not speaking out against this man who reduced our womanhood, the essence of who we are genetically by God's design, to, well, some of y'all have uteruses and you shouldn't, and some of y'all don't have lips, and some of y'all don't have boobs. So therefore, in the absence of those things, you are somehow not a woman. If y'all do not call out this foolishness and make him apologize or at least stop supporting his platform, you know what? Let me stop. Because I guess that would be a form of cancel culture. I don't watch this man's content anyway, so it doesn't really make me any difference. What I am trying to say is that I don't understand where the outcry and the outrage are from the women who claim to be so pro women, especially the pro blackity blacks. You gonna let this man sit and reduce the essence of who you are to some cosmetics, some boobs, some lips, a BBL, a uterus, or absence thereof? This is the most silly illogical argument that I've heard in a very long time, but he had no problem aggressively trying to defend it. And he said this without fear of backlash because he knows that so many Black women are in bed with the trans community. They support the trans community. And now it is to their exclusion and their detriment. And now it's going to make you look inconsistent. It's going to make you look like a hypocrite if all of a sudden this one intersectionality group now has beef with this other intersectionality group because everybody's been claiming a victim. Everyone's been claiming to be recipients of the I'm a victim and I'm a victim, and said therefore the victims are all joining forces. What happens when one victim class and another victim class are being pit against each other? At some point, who's going to rise from the ashes and win? I don't know. I will say this is why I don't get involved in the identity politics and the intersectionality of it all and the cultural Marxism of it all, because it's stupid. I don't have to defend the fact that I'm a woman. Biological reality affirms that to be true. The God of the Bible and the creator of heaven and earth affirms this to be true. So I'm able to affirm it with conviction because it is an objective truth claim. It's not a feeling. It's not a perception of reality. It is reality. I am a woman. And the more that we affirm what is true and we disavow this community that has declared an all-out war on the female essence of who we are, and that we are women, and we're not going to concede ground and comply with the use of this Weasley language that says, well, those are women too. They are just as equally legitimate as we are. Like hell they are. No, you're not. You are a man with male hormones and male genetics that is pretending to be a woman. And I'm not going to allow you, first of all, you can't steal shine from a legitimate 100% authentic woman. You can try real hard and you can fake the funk, but at the end of the day, chromosomally, genetically, you are still a man. But women need to, I'm not a feminist, hear me clearly. I'm not a feminist, but what I will do is stand up for the rights of women in this capacity, because I'm not about to let some hard-ankled, ashy-kneed Negro or other who thinks he is a woman to come and attempt to invade spaces that belong to us, i.e., our bathrooms. Get up out of there. And two, attempt to overshadow and simplify the essence of who we are and reduce it to just a costume. You're cosplaying. We all know you're cosplaying. Actually, in fact, we think something is psychologically wrong with you and we love you, but we want you to get some help. We want you to get some help, but you're not a woman. I have one more clip that I want to share with you guys. And then I'm going to give you my biblical admonition. So let's take a look to see what Jason has to say now.
And to unpack is why you believe the transsexual's experience is not one that deserves to be validated.
Yeah,
Because everyone's experience doesn't demand everyone else to validate it. I have a 13-year-old who, when she was 3, really believed that she could fly. This girl wanted to be a bird. We have no idea what her obsession was with birds and flying and wings and stuff. But if I had allowed ourselves to be roped into her delusion, at any given time, that girl could have jumped off this deck and tried to flap her imaginary wings because she believed, based on some perception that we have no idea what sparked this conviction on the inside of her, that she could fly. Can you imagine if we would say, you know what? Well, God made you a human, but if you're saying that you feel like a bird, well, go on and flap, sweetie. No, we didn't do that. What we did was explain to her that, honey, humans do not have the capacity to fly. They do not have wings. You are not going to sprout wings one day. You have arms. Those are the appendages that the Lord blessed you with, and they will never be able to be used in any sort of meaningful capacity to help you fly. And if you try to test that theory, it ain't going to end up well for you. Now, what God has afforded is an opportunity for you to get in an aircraft. You can get into a plane and fly. We can put you up in a parachute and just unleash you out the plane, and it can make you feel like you are flying. But baby girl, you're not a bird and you cannot fly. That's the reality. So in the same way, this transgender debate is silly because you have one subset of humans that wants us to affirm the delusion of another set of humans, and we're like, what you're asking is lunacy. We're not doing it. And this man is sitting up here with a straight face, like, how are you going to invalidate how they feel? Okay, I feel in my mind, I am a size 4 with toned arms. In reality, I am approaching a size 6, and my arms still got a little flab that I got to work on. You can affirm what you believe to be true all day long, but if I try to squeeze my behind in a size 4, it's gonna remind me real quick that that zipper's gonna pop and them seams are going to they're gonna stretch, and it's going to remind me, baby girl, you might feel like a 4, but you still got some work to do. You ain't a 4. Okay, we appreciate the progress you've made, coming down from that 10 and doing the 8, and now you 8, you a little bit of 6, but you ain't a 4. You're not there yet. Still got some more work to do. Let's take a look to see what Jason's going to say.
I'm similarly trying to unpack why you don't believe Rachel Dolezal's lived experience is one that should
No,
be
I do.
highlighted.
I understand, and that's the conflation where you're trying to
I am.
unpack one topic by putting
it's
up
exactly
another.
the same.
But we can't ask why a rhinoceros isn't an elephant. We're talking about an elephant, and the elephant in the room is that you have a skewed perception, in my opinion, about a transsexual experience. And
This man just invalidated his whole argument. He said, I don't understand why we're trying to conflate a rhinoceros with an elephant when right now we're talking about an elephant. We know trans people, men who are men biologically and believe they are women. The elephant in the room is that they are a man, they're not a woman. I refuse to believe and acknowledge that this man is so obtuse that he does not get this. He does not want to get this because he's completely sold out to the liberal left, and he has to parrot this lunacy, even if it makes him look stupid online, even if people are clowning him and saying, Candace Owens exposed you, you need to give this up. He cannot do it. There is some sort of either financial incentive or access for affirming this ideology that is forcing this man to double down in dumb. And I can't identify and pinpoint exactly what it is, but when we get to the point where people are trying to deny observable reality for the sake of not wanting to go down with a sinking ship, things are bad. We are in a bad place.
simply asking, why do you feel like it doesn't deserve to be validated if that's how the person feels? Because you know what you guys do, and I'm gonna say you guys that have these strong opinions.
But I just am one person sitting
No,
here.
these strong opinions. No, it's people that you represent because you have very strong opinions. And what happens when it comes to the LGBT community is you'll conflate pedophilia by using children and gay, which are two different things.
I'm not conflating here. Your argument is that if someone who is not clearly being born with a penis, for example, decides that in their lived experience, actually, no, they should have had a vagina, and so they're going to start living like they have a vagina and getting cosmetic procedures like they have a vagina, that suddenly I should respect that. I'm saying, okay, keep it consistent and say the exact same thing about Rachel Dolezal, and you hesitate there. For some reason, you don't want to do that. And so,
Well, no, I said she was crazy.
Exactly. So you have to keep it ideologically consistent. That's all I'm saying. But I'm saying to you, I'm consistent. Rachel is not a black woman. And a trans person can't just wake up one day and decide to be a woman. A man can't wake up one day and decide to be a woman because of lived experience. I'm sorry that I'm consistent, but you have to figure out why you're not.
Now that we've watched those clips, the biblical admonition in all of this is that one, we have to confront the lies of the culture that so many people have believed. We have to confront it with the truth. Romans 1 is kind of like that go-to verse that allows us to see exactly where we are in redemptive history. We've got people literally suppressing the truth, the truth that they know that is self-evidently true. They are suppressing it in their unrighteousness. And this is an example of a whole man who knows ideologically that Candace is right. He has to double down and suppress what he knows to be true in his unrighteous loyalty to this ideological shift toward affirming this transgender movement, which effectively disavows and invalidates biological women, the reality that God has fundamentally made men and women distinct and different. And no matter how you try to dress it up, no matter how you try to performatively modify yourself, you are still the gender that the Lord created you to be. And so when I look to Romans 1 and I see that suppressing the truth in unrighteousness and exchanging what has been revealed, what is self evidently true in creation, in the things that the Lord has made, when we see individuals double down like this, it's reflective of the sinful and wicked hearts that even though observable reality affirms A, they will double down and affirm B because they are shaking their fists and say, I don't care what God has spoken. I know better and I'm a God unto myself. So therefore, I'm going to keep pushing back, continue to suppress the truth, also that I can affirm a lie. Kudos and shout out to Candace Owens for confronting the culture head on and not being afraid to go on these platforms where they're going to be hostile and are adversarial toward her worldview, and she sits there very calm and cool and collected and just deals with the truth. And I admire her ability to say, listen, your audience is going to clown you for this, and this is not going to age well because you know that I'm right. And he continues to double down and be like, but no. And something else that I observed and I want to ask, where are all the feminists? All of the females who are girl power and pro female everything, where are they when it comes to this issue? This is why I can't buy into identity politics. I refuse to check these intersectionality boxes of all of these constructs and categories that I may or may not affirm, because at the end of the day, one of these categories are going to trump the other, and you're going to find yourself, you're not even going to be able to affirm what is objectively true because you've put your hat, or you've put too many eggs in too many boxes and categories, that now when two of those categories are diametrically opposed to one another, you don't know what you're going to do. You don't even know where you're going to stand. And you end up denying your own reality, suppressing the truth about what is biologically true about you, because you've gotten in bed and affirmed the categories and constructs that are effectively made up and are not even real from this community that is probably suffering from some sort of mental defect or deficiency. We need to love these individuals enough to tell them they need to get help, but doubling down and affirming them in their foolishness is not the way to go. So here's my admonition. We have to stand on an objective standard of truth, and recognize that truth is not subjective. Okay? How I feel today may change tomorrow. And if that is true, that is sinking sand. That is not something that we can objectively stand on, because it is inconsistent and it is incompatible with the fact that truth doesn't change just because you believe it to be so. Truth can be tested. God's word is Jesus is truth. His word is truth. And so as Christians, we need to affirm what is true, and us validating the truth about this community by saying the Lord made you a man, and we're going to affirm the truth about that, is not violence or hatred or us invalidating their humanity. In fact, we're actually affirming their humanity by loving them enough to say, I am not going to inflict harm on you by lying to you and making you think something true about yourself that we can test and affirm is not true. It is unloving to lie to a person. This is why I say the virtue on the left, they have no virtue. They have no concept of what love is. They effectively don't even know what truth is anymore, because everything is so subjective and based on feelings and not reality, that it doesn't create any sort of healthy foundation for a society to grow and thrive and flourish, because it's built on sinking sand. But I am curious to know, what do you think? Do you believe that Candace did a good job exposing the illogical lunacy of the left by comparing this transgender issue to the fact that Rachel Dolezal, no matter what she does, will always be a white woman? Did she expose Jason Lee's inconsistent position? Or do you believe, well, there is some truth in merit to what Jason was saying, and I still don't know where I land on this? Listen, I don't know how you're watching this channel and you're confused about this. However, the your opposition to my worldview and opinion is welcomed in the comments below. Wherever you land regarding this issue, I want to hear from you. So leave your comments down below. And at the end of the day, if you are a believer, you have to stand on what is true. And what is true is not based on how you feel. It's based on the objective standard of truth, which is God's word. So I need you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Stay rooted, stay grounded, and above all else, stay unshakable. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you in the next one. Grace and peace.